Section 1. The Land of Many Rivers. An introduction. This is the land of many rivers, the Padma, the Meghna, the Jamuna. They flow across this green delta, meeting the Bay of Bengal, carrying silt from the Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal. They are the lifeblood of this place, shaping the soil, shaping the seasons, shaping the very soul of the people who live here. The story of Bangladesh is inseparable from its geography. Its history is a tale of how a determined people, living in a fertile yet challenging landscape, carved out their own destiny. From ancient times to the modern day, the spirit of this land has been defined by a deep love for its language, its culture, and its independence. This essay will trace that journey, following a clear timeline from its earliest days to its birth as a sovereign nation. To truly understand how Bangladesh came to be, follow the currents of its history, much like following its rivers from their source to the sea. The narrative is not a simple one, filled with great cultural achievement, periods of foreign domination, Mughals, the British, and a heroic struggle for self-determination. Not just kings, politicians, and armies, but ordinary people, farmers, poets, students, mothers. In their experiences lies the meaning of history, and a lesson for the world. Identity can become the foundation for a modern nation-state. Section 2. Ancient Bengal, a tapestry of trade and culture. Long before it was Bangladesh, this region was Bengal, Vanga, renowned for wealth in agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship. Ancient mariners from Rome, Arabia, and China sailed to bustling ports like Sonargaon, seeking muslin so fine it seemed woven from air. Merchants exchanged goods and ideas. Different languages filled the air. A young man named Ananda watched ships unload and dreamed of sailing beyond the great rivers of home. Trade laid the groundwork for powerful kingdoms and sultanates, magnificent mosques, temples, monuments. The Mughal arrival brought sophistication, organizing Bengal into a Suba. Agricultural and textile wealth became vital revenue. Dhaka rose to prominence. Forts, gardens, caravanserais. Patronage fostered a unique fusion of Persian and Bengali culture. Architectural marvels from this era still stand. A distinct Bengali culture, expressed through language, lyrical poetry, and folk music, rooted in the rhythms of the land and rivers. A fluid, inclusive identity, defined by shared Delta life, language, and artistry. This sense of self proved resilient to the immense changes to come. Yet the next chapter would cast a long colonial shadow. Bengal would be divided and scarred, foreshadowing an even greater rupture, but the current of identity continued to flow beneath the surface. The British East India Company's arrival marked a disruptive turning point. Arriving as traders, they became rulers, defeating the last independent Nawab at Plassey. Colonial policy dismantled Bengal's thriving textiles to make way for British goods. Indigo, jute, extraction that drove many into debt and despair. The wealth of Bengal was steadily redirected overseas. English education birthed a new elite, yet widened the gap with rural masses. The Bengal Renaissance flourished. Thinkers, writers, artists championed reform and modern ideas. Railways re-engineered land and water, floods in some areas, drying in others. The colonial gaze saw resources, the people saw living rivers. Foreign domination, economic exploitation, cultural condescension sparked awakening. In 1905, Bengal was split, widely seen as divide and rule, later reversed, but scars remained. In 1947, independence came with partition, India and Pakistan. West Bengal joined India. East Bengal became East Pakistan, separated by 1,000 miles. Borders cut through a shared language, culture, and history. Partition unleashed horrific violence and one of history's largest mass migrations. East Pakistan lost its economic heart, forced to rebuild from scratch. For many like Fatima, joy and grief mingled. Neighbors left forever as refugees arrived with stories of loss. The line on the map had created a wound that would not heal. East Pakistan had the people, West Pakistan held the power. In 1948, Urdu was declared the sole national language. Bengalis saw an assault on identity. Police fired on peaceful students. Abdus Salam, Rafiq Uddin Ahmed, Abul Barkat, martyrs of the language movement. 21 February became sacred. East Pakistan would not let its identity be erased. Resources flowed out, investment flowed west. The demand for autonomy surged. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's six-point program called for federalism, control over economy and finances. Arrests and threats only expanded the movement. In 1970, Mujib's Awami League won an absolute majority. West Pakistani leaders refused to hand over power. Operation Searchlight began. Thousands were killed in a single night. Before arrest, Mujib declared independence, igniting nationwide resistance. The campaign targeted intellectuals, students, activists, and the Hindu minority. At Chuknagar, thousands of fleeing civilians were massacred. The Mukti Bahini, soldiers, police, students, farmers, workers, fought back and liberated the countryside. 10 million refugees fled to India. Global attention grew. India aided the cause. In December, India entered the war. On the 16th, Pakistani forces in Dhaka surrendered. Bangladesh was free. Born from ruins, Bangladesh adopted a constitution. Nationalism, socialism, democracy, secularism.